Good morning or afternoon if you're in my 8th period class. Hope you guys are having a great day at school. I'll be thinking of you while I'm at my math conference getting free chocolate, candy bars, sushi, all kinds of good things. What I want to do real quick is just show you some specific examples over the new and the last laws of exponents. And then you'll take notes after that with the specific laws and specific examples. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and have a sheet of paper out and be ready for notes, I think that would probably be helpful. Okay, so we're looking at what happens when we divide numbers or variables with exponents. So there's two examples of something you might see. The first example would be if we have x to the third over x squared. Okay? What we do here is if they have the same base, we subtract the exponents. So like when we multiply numbers, we add the exponents. In this case, we subtract them. So 3 minus 2 leaves us with x. Okay, or x to the first power. Another way you can do this, which I think is probably the most beneficial, is x to the third power is the same thing as x times x times x. X squared is the same thing as x times x. So put your numbers or variables into standard form. Because when you're dividing, if you ever have the same thing, you can cancel them out. So those x's cancel out, those x's cancel out, and I'm left with just an x on top, which is what happened when we subtracted as well. Okay, so there's one example. Another time you might see something is where you have maybe x squared to the x power raised to the second power. Okay, yesterday we talked about raising powers to another power. We do the same thing. This kind of distributes to the top and the bottom. So then this would be x, we multiply those to the fourth, and then this is x to the second power. Then we can simplify this even further. We subtract these two, that leaves us with x squared. Another thing we can do, we have x to the fourth power, which is x multiplied 4 times. We could list them out, see what cancels out. We're left with 2 x's, which we then put back into exponential form. Okay, so there's the two types of dividing laws. Okay, some more examples we're going to look at. We have 4 to the 17th power over 4 to the 8th power. You can list 4 out 17 times, or you can know that we subtract them and get 4 to the 9th power. Another example would be if we have x to the second over x to the 5th power. When we subtract 2 and 5, that leaves us with a negative 3. Remember, we are not finished if we still have negative exponents, so we have got to fix that. Because this is on the top, we're going to switch it to the bottom and make it positive. There's nothing left on top, so we put a 1. Using the other method can be really helpful in this case. So if we write out our x's, it may take a lot of paper, but I think it will be a little bit easier. We cancel out anything that's the same. We're left with 3 x's on the bottom. So if we switch this back, we're left with nothing on top, so we put a 1 and an x cubed, which is the same thing we get when we started. I'll do a couple more examples with you, and then you guys will work on some in the class with your sub. So if we have a to the negative first, b to the fourth, a to the fourth, and b to the negative 6. Okay, I'm going to solve this 2 different ways. It doesn't matter how you do it. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the law we just learned, where if it's the same base, we can subtract the exponents. So -1 minus 4, when we subtract those, that gives us a to the -5th power. When we have 4 minus a -6, if you write that out, that changes to be a +6. So that's going to be b to the +10th power. Then we keep the b to the 10th on top. We've got to make this positive, so we switch it to the bottom. That's my final answer. Okay? If you want to do the method where you write them all out, you have to get rid of the negative exponents first before you can list them out. So in order to do that, I'm going to keep b to the 4th on top. I'm going to keep a to the 4th on bottom because both of those are already positive. To make this positive, I'm going to move it to the bottom. To make this positive, I move this to the top. That's b to the 10th. And we use the laws of when we multiply, so we add them together. Except I went ahead and added in my head already. There we go. And we have b to the 10th equals a to the 5th. Here we don't need to list and cancel out because there's nothing on top or bottom that's the same that will cancel out. So we get the same answer. Okay, so a lot of your sample problems today will be bigger problems because we have all the laws of exponents that we can use. So you won't only use the division laws. You might see something like this. So we go through all the laws of exponents that we know and simplify as much as we can. So how we might solve something like this. When we raise something to a power, this goes and multiplies to everything that's there. So that's 2 to the 4th, x to the 4th, y to the 8th. This is 4 to the 4th, x to the 4th, y to the 12th. Okay? 2 to the 4th ends up being, let's see, 16. I think that ends up being that's not 625. I believe it's 81. Maybe not. Okay? We can leave that in exponential form on a test. I'm okay if you leave the numbers in exponential form, unless it's maybe like 3 squared. You should know that. Okay? So then I have x to the 4th minus x to the 4th. That leaves me 4 minus 4 is 0. So x to the 0 power is 1. So another way to look at it is we have the same thing on top and bottom, so all of them are going to cancel out. So we don't have x's anymore. Then I've got 8 minus 12. Again, it probably helps to write it out. 8 minus 12, that gives me -4. So my -4, anytime I subtract, whatever I get stays on the top part of the equation. So if it's already positive, it stays there. If it's negative, then we know we've got to switch it to have 2 to the 4th over 4 to the 4th. We switch this side. And then that is my answer. For the rest of class, you're going to go over some examples. You're going to do a lot of practice problems, simplifying as much as you possibly can, and then you're going to do an activity afterwards. If you have questions, make sure you write them down. You can ask the sub. You can save them for me tomorrow. We'll spend the next couple of days reviewing, and then your test is going to be Monday. Have a great day.